really, unless that happens, it's not really like a crash. But like once they have to activate the circuit breakers, like times during the Great Recession, things of that nature, where they literally had to stop trading. That's
so wait,
like
what are
crash.
conditions? What are conditions for that? I'm just curious. Like in a day, what would have to happen? Like, is it 401 points that it have to drop? Is it
1,000 points?
The points don't. The points themselves don't matter. It's just relative to how big the market is. So for example, let's say the S&P.
So what would be a percentage? It would be
so let's say the S&P. I'm not sure exactly, but it has to be really significant. It has to be pretty significant. I can look that up. I mean, right now. Let me look that up right now.
I don't really care because it ain't gonna pay.
No,
it ain't gonna crash my life. It ain't gonna crash my life.
This has turned into an episode of Billions, and I love it. I'm with it.
Let's do it.
It's the base. LOSO__G.
DK, the engineer.
It's your boy. Let her have the T. B4V. You go, boy.
It's the base.
Run down.
Hallelujah. Hallelujah.
If you guys remember, a few months ago, I told you guys that the reporting system that was being used for COVID, for tracking COVID, was changing, right? So just to recap, right, for like decades now, we've been using the same exact system the CDC was using at the beginning, or excuse me, off the CDC website. And, you know, things were going okay, right? Like, I think the one negative thing that I mentioned is that, like, the data kind of lags behind a little bit, but no big deal, right? But because, you know, they have models to kind of take that into consideration, right? They pretty much use math and science to kind of, you know, predict where things are going, and that's worked so far. But, you know, somewhere just in the middle, there's a few months ago, they decided to change how this is going to happen. So instead of hospitals reporting directly to the CDC voluntarily, they had to report it through a new system that's managed by HHS, which they do oversee the CDC, but this move seemed to be very much more of a political thing. And I guess the one way they try to kind of encourage people to, or encourage hospitals to move to this new system, is that they were incentivizing them with remdesivir. I'm not sure if that's exactly how. Yeah, because at the time it was in short supply. So what they did was like, oh, you switch over, you know, we're pretty much just gonna give. I'm not sure if it's if really the right way to put it is that we're gonna hold back this, or we're just gonna give this in short supply to the people who comply the most. But whatever. So come a few months later, right? We find out, or not we find out, but yeah, no, we find out that a lot of hospitals are not, I guess, within compliance of the system. So meaning like compliance, like they're giving in the minimal amount of data every single day, right? Because that was kind of like one of the big things between moving to this new system, that was that every single day they were supposed to report this information, right? And just more accurate data. So apparently that's not the case, which is no surprise, right? Like I mentioned this before, that it makes no sense to, like, every time you switch to a new system, when nothing is going wrong, right, things go bad. Like that's just the way it is. Like computers are not. And it's just like we're doing this in the middle of a pandemic. But apparently there was a CDC presentation, an internal one that NPR got a hold of somehow for the week of September 14th. So that's like a few weeks ago. And it shows that only 24% of hospitals were in compliance, meaning like reporting all the required elements every day. So what's the bad thing about it? Besides it being 24%, like, I don't know if it means like maybe another 50%, you know, are like giving enough data. You know what I mean? Like they weren't specific about that. But what they're trying to do is that they're trying to threaten them by terminating both Medicare and Medicaid if they're, you know, I guess repeat offenders, which I think we could all agree it's pretty much a bad thing. So, I mean, I definitely agree with the need to put like pressure on. Just because like the reality is people, you know, just are kind of like, they just reply, they react to incentives, most people. And it, you know, sometimes that pressure you got to put on. But I did not like, I guess, this whole thing where it's kind of like punishment for not participating, especially such a large amount, as opposed to before the incentive seemed more like something positive, right? We had something in short supply. The hospitals that are complying the best, you know, they probably have the most complete information, so we'll probably have a better idea of what, you know, what we can give them or what they need. You know what I mean? But Yeah, I mean, that's just kind of like my thoughts on this. I hope that they don't actually go through with it, you know, because if that really means that like 76% of hospitals are going to lose this crazy source of like income, then, you know, that's bad like all around.
I mean, they're essentially punishing like it's weird because it just shows that our medical infrastructure in general is just like way the fuck out of date. You know, it's kind of like a patchwork. We have this weird sort of hybrid private public system, and you know, everyone has their own system and processes. I'm pretty sure I'm not a doctor, so I'm sure there's some uniformity, but it's just like they're punishing them for like being a hospital. You know what I mean? Like it just seems weird to be punitive against them when the goal should just be like get on track. Like don't punish them. It's like help them get on track, you know? But you know, just in general, we've been exposed super hard. Like this whole COVID just shows that just infrastructure in general, not just medical infrastructure, but you know, we just live in a patchwork and we got caught with our pants down. So
no, agreed. You know, and you know, during a situation like this with COVID, 210,000 dead, I believe, as of today. Like, you know, you shouldn't be like looking toward measures to make the jobs of frontline workers and doctors and ICU surgeons. You shouldn't try to be making their job harder. You know, taking funding away from hospitals and research and testing and this, that, and the third, which, as from a holistic standpoint, that's what would take place if something like this were to go down. I mean, that would extend this pandemic, if anything. You know, because that's all I was hearing throughout everything DK was saying. I was like, what? So they want COVID to last another year? Like the vaccine's not even here yet. So like I don't understand. Like you already
vaccine.
You already have multiple millions uninsured right now. You know, still trying to figure, like the government's still trying to figure out with the stimulus and so forth about how we get, you know, people that are out of work. Okay, they're out of work. They don't have insurance now. There's only so many people we can take on to Medicaid and Medicare and Obamacare or whatnot. Like Obamacare is great. I was on it, and I'm probably about to be back on it relatively soon. But you know, it's not Canada. It's not universal. Not everybody's just gonna get Obamacare for it. They have to approve you to get it because it's income based. It's Medicaid. So, you know, like taking funding away from that is not a good idea. It's just not in the grand scheme of things. So, you know, hopefully this gets resolved in another way. Hopefully with a new president.
Ooh. Well, hopefully those 34 people that got infected through the White House don't get their Medicare to Medicaid cut off from their hospitals.
Segway God. He's on one today. So 34 people tested positive for the COVID-19 situation. And this was upon the return of our fearless leader, the Orange Man, number 45, earlier this week. I think, you know, I know that when he came back, you know, he made a series of videos, most of which were edited because of him being out of breath and coughing. Thank you for Twitter.
He looks like he's out of breath, period.
Yeah.
But, he looks like he loses his breath walking up those stairs to that plane, but whatever.
Yeah. He's like Kevin James in like The King of Queens. Like he starts sweating and losing breath like after peeling an orange.
It doesn't help because he's old and you know, even according to his doctors, like he's obese. So it's, you know, that's not good. But
like,
I mean,
he's old and clearly unhealthy, unhealthy.
Obese and 70 plus years of age, like those aren't really good.
But the thing is that he has the benefit of receiving the best medical care in human history. So, you know, have a team of 20, crack team of 20 best doctors in the known universe, you know, it's probably why he's still alive.
Pretty sure they won't have a problem stealing kidneys or other people's plasma if that's what you got to do to keep them alive.
Harvesting organs, whatever.
In an alternative universe where old Donald Trump is stuck in a nursing home in like Bay Ridge or something, he would have been dead, you know? So
nah, this whole thing is something out of Futurama, yo. Like this whole 2020 has been Futurama, bro. Like I wouldn't be shocked if like Donald Trump's head is like commander in chief like in another month or so, you know, or if he finds a way to cheat and like rig the election again. But staying on course, that's neither here or there. 34 staff members tested positive for COVID-19. A number of senators tested positive for COVID-19 in addition to this story. So the Senate, which was supposed to vote on a stimulus package, which we'll talk about later in today's show, like the Senate can't meet for like another week, or like probably I think 2 weeks. They're going to quarantine. They've got to quarantine for about 14 days because 3 of those senators tested positive. So basically, that super spreader event that Trump had for the confirmation of the new Supreme Court justice that he wants to push through as quickly as possible, that was a terrible idea. And him coming back to the White House, still infected, and he's still infected to this day, as a matter of fact, coming back maskless, roaming around the White House was a
Corona-ing out.
Just Rona out in the streets, Rona out in the Rose Garden, Rona in the Oval, Rona everywhere, all day, every day. So yeah, so a lot of staffers are suffering from it. And Chris Christie, former governor of New Jersey, he also tested positive. I think his
oh man, he might actually die.
Yeah, it's not like it's a pretty bad situation. I think they asked like Nancy Pelosi, like, do you plan on meeting with the president anytime soon? And she's like, I'm not going anywhere near the White House with my pre-existing conditions. Like that is probably the unsafest place to be in America right now.
Doesn't Trump have some drug that that's like a blessing from God or some shit?
Well, yeah, Regeneron is a trial drug.
Regeneron sounds made up, son. That sounds like what is it that shit from
that's
Avatar?
like
unobtainium, son.
That's like a item. That's what like your health item is called in like a fucking space game.
Bro, it sounds like something out of X-Men, like for sure. Like yeah, like we've got to find the Regeneron and plug it into Mutant X or whatever. So like yeah, so but yeah, according to Trump in one of his ridiculous videos where he's trying to say, "Don't be afraid of COVID." Don't fear COVID. Don't let it control your lives. It killed 210,000 people. That's neither here or there. But he mentions Regeneron, how he has been taking Regeneron and he feels better than he's felt in 20 years. And that could be him in a steroid-driven state. Who knows? Or it could be the COVID killing machines from back in Arizona.
Well, he's not wrong. It's like COVID can't take control of your life if you're dead.
No, it can't. It most certainly
that's big brain shit right there.
Yeah, listen, he's it's his world. We're just living in it, clearly. So yeah, our hearts go out for those staff members. We pray for a speedy recovery for them and for their families. Obviously, all of them are quarantining for the next 14 days. All the members of his motorcade, because remember, he did a drive-by waving to his Trump minions the day he got released.
COVID drive-by.
He did a COVID drive-by. So shout out to his freaking security detail. I'm pretty sure they all had to quarantine for 14 days. And anybody he's been in contact with during the past week or week and a half, they've had to quarantine for 14 days because he has COVID. He still has COVID. It's like Curb Your Enthusiasm. He still has it. What do they know?
I mean, here's the thing. They probably have a thing going on because it's like, I imagine he can't, like, there's a limit to how much he could endanger himself without like the Secret Service or whomever being like, all right, bro, you got to chill. So there's probably some sort of like prearranged thing where he kind of gets to do his thing, but like on the sneak tip, he's like, all right, like you gotta like chill now. Like I'll come back up to the Regeneron.
Feed it into my veins.
They put him in the fucking sand recovery tank. That's Regeneron.
Nah, he needs that, like, what's that tank that Vegeta was in when he had to recuperate?
That's what I just said.
Is that what it is?
Bro, how you still see, bro, you stole a joke you didn't even realize. That's how I know it's ingrained.
I'm sorry. Like, there's levels.
I'm like saying, he's like, yo, what about Vegeta, bro?
There's levels to nerdom. Obviously, I haven't reached yours yet, bro. I'm still trying to get there. You know, I'm sorry.
I'm sure. The man with the Marvel in his background. Okay.
And DC.
Oh no, that's even worse.
So, meanwhile, Trump is killing people in real life. He's also trying to kill our economy on the other end.
Yes. Okay. So this story is hilarious. Shout out to the Young Turks and Rebel HQ. I follow them on YouTube as well. They've been following this, and I've been following this closely. So, number 45, he's been on one. Again, we can blame this to the steroid induced Regeneron that he's been in for the past week or so. But he sent out a long list of tweets, like on some Kanye shit, basically calling out Nancy Pelosi and Chuck Schumer, and basically saying, "Listen, I want to end all talks for stimulus. Like, enough is enough. Like, we need a table talks to after the election, after I win."
Move.
And
bad move.
And basically, like, they had their chance, and I said what I said. Like, that's it. So anyway, he backtracked from that. That same day, that night, he sent out that list of Kanye tweets. He backtracked from it because the Business Roundtable, corporate America, which actually controls the government, which I've been saying for years, they gave him a call, and they sat him down, like Ed Boy said, like, when you become president, somebody sits you down and says, "Okay, nigga, this is what really is going on." Like, that's what happened. Business Roundtable, we're talking CEOs for like Goldman Sachs, IBM, Apple, whoever, Google, whoever, all the big wigs that really control our country, the Illuminati, the Illuminated, they sat him down. They were just like, "Listen, you need to backtrack off all that shit because our consumers, like the American people that you don't give a fuck about, and we really don't give a fuck about either."
Wait, is that really part of the story? You just talking shit?
No, I'm dead serious. This actually happened.
Oh, okay.
The Business Roundtable they're actually a group. You can look it up. They're actually
No, I know the Business Roundtable. I know.
Okay. Yeah, they actually called him. They called him, and they basically was like, "You need to backtrack off of all that shit because
this shit sounded like an X-Men story." I'm sorry.
Because really, it pretty much is. They called him up. They called up him, McConnell, Mnuchin, Meadows, all those people. They got on a conference call, and they were just like, "You need to backtrack off of all that shit. Like, we understand that you might be crazy, but you're fucking with the bag, and like, we can't have that. Like, do you want us to stop giving you money? Because we can do that. Like, we can do that. So I think you might want to reconsider those comments." So he comes back online, sends out another stream of Kanye tweets saying that, "Listen, I think that we should get together, and I'm all for like standalone bills for like the $1,200 direct checks. If you guys send that over to me, I'll sign that in tomorrow. Are you listening, Nancy? We need bailout money for airlines. We need that immediately." So airlines and $1,200 direct checks, he's all for that. But extending unemployment, extending the rent moratorium, and eviction protection, and COVID aid for testing and tracing and research. Those aren't really important right now in this pandemic. Airlines and direct checks with his name on it. That's what he wants. And of course, Nancy Pelosi told him to go fuck himself. She was like, "I'm not agreeing to that. Like, we need to." And here's the comedy. Like, they were working, like Mnuchin and Pelosi, they're really close to actually finally coming up with a bill. Like, the House had passed the HEROES Act Part 2, which is it's about $1 trillion less than the HEROES Act, which passed in May. They passed it. Barely, but they still passed it in the House. It's about 2.4 trillion versus 3.4 trillion, which they were asking for before, roughly around those numbers. And there is growing optimism that they can actually get this passed, if not by the election, definitely probably right after the election. So for him to try to basically sabotage that is kind of idiotic. But then again, I don't really know what his end game is because, okay, so $2+ trillion, which would be injected back into a failing economy because of a COVID crisis that you mishandled, could actually be a win. That's a win that you can attach yourself to 20 plus days away from the election. You don't want an easy win? You don't want a layup for the GOP? I'm confused. But
I mean, he doesn't care about. I think it's a bad strategic move. I think at the end of the day, what likely happened is that he thought he was playing hardball, and then he got probably talking to, like you said, and they're just like, "Yo, you fucking idiot," because it's like there's no like I'm just thinking about strategically, right? Like, fuck the American people. I don't care about that. I want to win the election, right? So we're not talking about all these people who are unemployed and need help. We don't care about them. We just want to win, right? Even with that mentality, why would I say that I'm not negotiating? What I would say is that we're trying to do X. Just what they've been saying. The Democrats are trying to do Y. We're trying to get you aid. And Democrats, like just stick with that narrative.
Just stick
like
with that. That's what he's been doing.
That totally works. But now you have people in swing states who are undecided but are likely to vote. They need stimulus. They see the economy. Their bills are piling up. And they see you, oh, yeah, well, everyone can just suck my dick because we're going to wait until after the election and then we'll really pass it. And I'm like, even if that's the case, like you're going to have to, like let's say if the Senate flips and the House stays the same, even if he is president, like he's fucked anyway. So it's like, it's just such a bad, like political
absolutely
thing. It's absolutely. Like he could have just said nothing. He could have just said nothing. And this is well, or he could have been like, wow, we came back to the table with another bill and the Democrats said no again. Wow, they're such bad negotiators. # fuck Pelosi. Like, what, you know what I mean? Like, he should have just kept it on, but I don't know.
Yeah, like you mentioned,
but people make mistakes. People make mistakes.
Those swing states, like as soon as he said it, two things came to mind. Number one, how many undecided voters who are definitely going to vote? They're definitely going to vote. Like a bunch of them that didn't vote, in 2016, they're just like, well, I got to vote this time. Like, shit. It's crazy right now. So I'm definitely going to vote. I still don't know who I'm going to vote for. But they're waiting for that aid. They've been waiting for that aid since August, since the CARES Act expired on a lot of the benefits from it. So they're just like, okay, hopefully we really need to get this aid. So wouldn't it be smart to attach yourself to a win? Like, okay, let's just sign it. Let's get it in. And then he can just tout and be like, yeah, see, I passed major aid in the midst of a pandemic. That's a win. You got to give me that. So you should vote for me. I'm trash, but you should vote for me.
Let's forgive him. Let's forgive him. People make mistakes, okay?
Right. But the other part is, the comedy and another Curb Your Enthusiasm moment here is the stock market crashed immediately. After he
immediately. Let's amend that because this is my field. The stock market didn't crash. It went down by like 400 points. That's nothing.
It went down by a significant margin.
That's not significant, bro. I know that's how it was spun in the media, but that's not. Mm-hmm. I just gotta throw that out there because so much of financial media says, "Oh yeah, stock market crash, rise." I'm like, bro, like that's barely
for reference. For
what significance? Yeah, what's significance?
It would really depend because it's like. You really want to track it over the long term. So like a significant crash. So like if the Dow or S&P 500 went down like, I don't know, like to the point where the circuit breakers go off. So circuit breakers, essentially when the market goes down to a certain point, they just stop trading to keep the sell-off from happening. So like, unless that happens, it's not really like a crash. But like once they have to activate the circuit breakers, like times during the Great Recession, things of that nature, where they literally had to stop trading. That's so wait, like
what
a
are
crash.
Conditions? What are conditions for that? I'm just curious. Like in a day, what would have to happen? Like, is it 401 points that it have to drop? Is it
1,000 points?
The points themselves don't matter. It's just relative to how big the market is. So for example, let's say the S&P.
So what would be a percentage? It would be
so let's say the S&P. I'm not sure exactly, but it has to be really significant. It has to be pretty significant. I can look that up. I mean, right now. Let me look that up right now.
I don't really care because it ain't gonna pay.
No, it
ain't gonna crash my life. It ain't gonna crash my life.
This has turned into an episode of Billions, and I love it. I'm with it. we got Eddie Axelrod over here.
Oh, that's the dude's name?
No, it's Bobby Axelrod actually, but I made a
I'm just curious how many points it is, but percentage would make sense.
They're set at 7%, 13%, and 20% of the closing price of the previous day.
So yeah, it's just relative to that. So 400 is probably like I don't know what percentage would that
400
be?
is nothing. Like I mean, given how big the Dow is right now, I mean, you know, but
I found it. Thank
but it is funny.
No,
it is funny that
that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. The fact that he sends these Kanye tweets out and the market goes down, like you can't tell me there's no direct correlation there, because again, the consumers need that stimulus money with the holidays coming up. They need that money. Like you're not gonna make a decision. Okay, what do I do? Do I buy 6 gifts on Amazon, or do I not eat for the next 2 months? Like that's a really easy decision to make, if you ask me, here in America, in a first world country. So it's just like you're gonna take money out.
I don't know. Credit cards. People don't always make those smart decisions.
Right. Credit card debt. That's an outlier. That's an outlier. But to finish my point, what I'm saying is, to take money out of the pockets of Americans and citizens for what? Like there's no political strategy here. This is either the steroids talking, the Regeneron talking, or just downright stupidity, or really a combination of the three.
It was a bad move. It was a bad move. I don't know what the fuck he was thinking, but
big facts.
But it's like did anybody watch the debates?
I did. Yes.
I overheard them while you were listening to somebody else watch them.
So, what did you think? So, here's my general take. Because I didn't watch them in full. I watched like maybe like a good hour and change, and then highlights and articles related. The Biden versus Trump shit show. Just straight shit talking. It was just straight like this was like a WWE promo, but like one of those promos where like 2 non-wrestlers try to act like they're not a part of WWE show, but they still talk shit. You know what I mean? It's weird, but they still tried to keep a guise of civility, which didn't really last. That being said, Trump did brag about bringing back Big Ten football, which is absolutely hilarious to me.
That shit
was hilarious.
Comedy Central.
Like, wow, we get to see fucking Ohio State and Michigan. Dope.
Woo!
I did that all by myself.
Meanwhile, 10,000 more people. But anyway,
to add to Ed Boy's point, I mean, I felt that Biden was trying everything he could to like be the adult in the room, which I figured was going to happen. Like he'd be the adult or try to be the adult, the senile grandfather, but still the adult nonetheless. And Trump would be the childish buffoon, like he's always been. Like that, it's nothing new. And he would try to basically try to bogart and take over the debate. Like there were so many parts where he was debating with the moderator. He like I'm just like, dude, who are you? Like, you know, it's you versus Biden. Right, not you versus the moderator.
It's me versus the world.
It's Trump versus the world.
Me against the world
on some Tupac shit. Like so, but that was hilarious. And I like to watch the fact checking afterward, and I did that for the Pence Kamala debate, which we'll get to later. I did that immediately right after the Trump Biden and just the lies, bro, just endless, just lie after lie after lie, dude. And he stood by it. He stood firm in his lie. He stood firm in his bullshit. You see what I'm saying? So it's just like, what are you gonna do? But I mean, it was like it was The Rock versus Stone Cold, or The Rock versus Triple H, WrestleMania 20, whatever. Like it was a hot mess. Inside a dumpster fire, inside a train wreck.
Biden came off as extremely like lucid, you know, because you know he has a tendency to say, I'm not saying he's senile or anything, but he has a tendency to gaffe and like say weird shit. But like he came off pretty cogent, you know, which is interesting. But yeah, moving on to the Kamala Harris and Mike Pence, Uncle P. That one was a little bit more civil. You know, I don't really know what to say because it's like nothing. I didn't find out anything new. Nothing enlightening was said. It's just them kind of going after each other, pandering to their base, right? Because anyone who supported either candidate is going to leave that debate thinking that their candidate won. Like, you know, I've already read online, like people talking about the debates, and it's like, if you're already Trump Pence, you thought that Pence was like a beast. Like, if you thought, you know, if you're Biden Harris, then you thought that Harris took it. But I mean, honestly, I think Harris was way more truthful in general, professional in general, from what I saw. And, you know, but at the end of the day, this shit is entertainment. These are promos. These are promos.
It's only entertainment. Not to mention, I mean, she was a prosecutor for how many years in California? Like, this is what she does. Like, this is right up her alley. Politics is right up her alley. So I knew she was going to thrive in this setting anyway, whether she got the questions or not. Like, she understood what realm of the topics were going to be in, so she was going to be prepared regardless. In addition to that, the thing that I saw, because what I like to do is, I don't know what Fab just did just now. It's like, like, what was hilarious, which was interesting to me, because what I like to do is I like to watch multiple news outlets to see if they're saying the same thing or if they're saying conflicting things, which usually is the case. Except Fox, I can't deal with Fox; it gives me a headache. So I went with CBS, NBC, CNN, ABC, just to see what the immediate reaction was to the debates on both sides for the presidential and the vice presidential, and what they all came in. They were all in agreement that what I was seeing from all the outlets was that the debate was really more important for the Republicans, for the GOP, for Trump, because he's behind, and he's behind in all the swing states. Because again, he needs to win all the swing states. He needs to do exactly what he did in 2016 to win the election. He can't win like 2 of the swing states or 3 of the swing states and still come out on top. He needs to go like, how many, 5 or 6 for 6. He needs to win every swing state to win the election. And so unless him and Pence come with like knockout punches and change the narrative of what the American people, really the undecided voters, think or don't think about what he can bring to the table for another 4 years, he's not going to win the election. Unless he cheats, but that's not here or there. So it's like, I mean, and they everyone like, cheats. They feel that if you're not cheating, you're not trying. Ric Flair, woo! So it's just like, so basically, they felt, all the experts, quote unquote, they feel that Pence did exactly what Ed Boy said. All he did was reaffirm what the party and what the values and the policies and what they've done. They've just reaffirmed what people already know. They didn't come with any new information, and in turn, by doing that, they didn't change anybody's opinion. They didn't sway the undecided. So it was an L.
I would be curious to see, like, and I probably should have did this, but I'm curious to see what polls of undecideds, how they actually interpreted the election. That would be like interesting. But at the end of the day, it really just depends who comes out and votes in November. Like, people are pretty much in their factions. I don't know. Donald Trump almost seems like he doesn't want to win the election by saying no stimulus talks, which is crazy to me. But it just depends who comes out, who votes. If people who say they want Trump out don't come out and vote where they need to vote, right? Because, popular vote doesn't really matter, outside of like really niche circumstances. So if people don't come out and vote where it matters, we can see another 4 more years of Trump. So people just need to, walk the walk instead of just talking all this shit. Vote.
I already voted. I voted early in the week.
What are the Reuters polls saying about the chances of Trump tricking us again?
I mean,
that's for Ed Boy. I don't know that offhand.
Yeah, well, I don't think Trump tricked us. I think Trump tricked.
He tricked you,
not me.
He tricked you so good you don't even know you're being tricked.
Right, that's
4 years later, he's like, me, he tricked me.
Right?
I didn't vote for him. So
shout out to the
Shout out to the Fly. We spent this whole segment talking about.
Oh yeah, the Fly on Pence's head.
Yo, the memes were out of control. I'm on Twitter watching the debates, just loving every last minute of it. Well,
Yeah,
actually,
this
I
is
rewatched
all
them because
meme
I was
fuel.
watching something else while I was going on live. But I'm just like, yo, this was hilarious. They said like now go ahead.
No, I'm just like, I didn't watch the things. Like, I overheard some of it when I was eating because I was outside while Evan was listening to some of it, and it made me laugh and it was extremely entertaining. But it's just like, it pisses me off that like people kind of take that shit serious. Like, even if this year was more comical, there was I guess more flat out lying compared to other years. Other years, they were the better actors. I guess I didn't really watch it, but just like, I don't know, man. Like, all of this is really just making me like realize that I just like need to be more active locally. Like, I'm not as concerned about like, I mean, I am concerned with who's going to be president, but I'm really more concerned with locally because like locally things are fucked and like 20-something% of people, what is it of people actually vote in local elections and shit like that.
Yeah, we discussed it.
Abysmally low.
We discussed that. We discussed that
in the beginning
on previous shows. Yes, we did.
Yeah.
And it's
But no, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, particularly in local politics, if you want to see why things are the way they are, just look at who actually comes out and vote, and your answer will be answered very quickly.
old people.
But it's just like, it's like this self-fulfilling prophecy. Oh, voting doesn't matter. Well, yeah, idiot, because you don't fucking vote, and you and all your friends don't vote. And then people will say, but it's just me voting. I was like, okay, what's 1 + 2? They're like, oh, 2, right?
One.
So you need one individual, and you need another individual to make 2 individuals. So all you need to do is just keep adding more individuals, and that's how you have a voting block. It's made a group is individuals. So saying, oh, it's just only my vote, that makes no fucking sense. I'm sorry, I went off on a little rant.
No, it's cool. It's cool. That freaking segues into
That makes sense.
Make it make sense. 2020 slogan. But that goes into the point that I was going to make, Ed Boy, perfectly. That that's why I really rock with what AOC and the progressives are doing, because what they're doing is they're kind of reminding people of the power that they think that they don't have. They're just like, well, it's just one vote. Like, I don't need like this, that, and the third. Like, no, like no, you can affect your sheriffs, you can affect your district attorneys, you can affect your mayors, you don't like it, you can vote them the fuck out. You can do that. Like, you can actually do that. Like, election rigging is a thing, but so is voting. Like, they go hand in hand. So that's bad.
You could rig it, or you can kidnap the people from the government, like in the next Die Hard movie, 2020 America.
My God.
This is the plot for Olympus. Olympus Has Fallen Part 6 with Morgan Freeman.
So Governor Gretchen Whitmer was a potential victim of a plot to a kidnapping plot that was foiled. 13 people, including 7 people associated with the Wolverine Watchmen militia group.
That shit sounds fake. A bunch of incels, bro. A bunch of incels.
And got arrested in sweeping takedown of plots to kidnap the Michigan governor, attack the state capitol, and incite violence. Very interesting. So it's just a bunch of nerds.
Want to be cop? No.
Incels, bro.
Say the whole thing. Want to be cop soldiers?
No, not even.
This is cop soldiers.
This is way past that. No, this is way past that. This is way past that, because
I wish they would have organized the storming Area 51 shit instead of this bullshit. My fault, yo. Go ahead, boy.
No. This is like I don't know. This is hilarious, but it's interesting because I wonder how often this happens, and I imagine that things like this happen a lot more often than is reported. Especially, I mean, I just imagine it that at this time in particular, it's just very because like this plot was especially like sloppy. Right. But I imagine how many things get foiled by like, local law enforcement, intelligence, things of that nature. But like, this is like, it's funny because it's just like, holy shit. Like, what was your plan? Kidnap the governor and then what? like, and then what? Like, what is your plan after that? Because you're not leaving that scenario alive. Like, that's automatic. Like, you're done. So, like, what is your goal?
They were gonna hand her over to the Joker or Bane or the Penguin, or
they're gonna put in some barrels.
Yeah, some barrels, like
some barrels of dynamite.
Nah,
this
man.
is.
Now go ahead.
I said this shit is hilarious, but it's also a little concerning. Because I believe they also mentioned in the article some internal memos, just like talking about like concerns with domestic violence. Specifically, things or white supremacist groups. Specifically, things like that.
Because I'm thinking domestic violence. I'm like, are they going to beat their wives after they take the governor? Like, that's interesting.
Do they check all the boxes? Do they smell bad? Are they racist? Do they have a whole bunch of guns? Do they watch Duck Dynasty? Do they have beards? Like these are again, I stand by my point. These are the wannabe cop soldiers who love Trump. These are the same cats that were out there parading saying who stormed the Capitol. Because remember, Michigan was one of those first states that these freaking MAGA minions, they stormed the Capitol and took over and was like, yo, open the state back up. Open the state back up. I want my haircut. Open the state back up. It's those idiots. So the wannabe cop soldiers, honestly, I'm more afraid of them than like anything because
than actual cops.
Yes, than actual cops to a degree. If I'm driving alone with my tinted windows at night, so it's like if Trump loses, I wouldn't put it past them to start doing wild shit like this in record numbers.
I saw a video of a guy that was like, I don't know if you saw the same video. It was on Twitter. He was like, if Trump wins, everything's gonna be fine, but if he loses. Black people, if you lose it, be ready because a war is coming.
Yes, yeah. The FBI. Like he got arrested like right after that video came up. Like FBI like basically brought him in for questioning immediately after that video.
I don't know. People say stupid shit like that all the time. Whatever. Anyway, so. Armenia and Azerbaijan continue their hostilities. Long story short, this goes back years, but they're two countries in Central Asia in the Caucasus region, and they've had long-standing territorial disputes. Particularly the one place, Nagorno-Karabakh. It's essentially ethnically Armenian enclave that's technically a part of Azerbaijan. They claim autonomy and to be something separate, but essentially skirmishes have started over the region, and this has greater geopolitical implications because Turkey's involved. Turkey supports Azerbaijan. Armenia is in the defense pact with Russia. On the other side, this could start a greater geopolitical conflict. So it's crazy. They actually there was actually a war back in the 90s. I think like 30,000 people died. There was a truce in 94 that ended the war, but it's been tense ever since, and it's been reignited. Both sides claim that they were aggressed on first, but it's scary, man. It's scary.
Do you think this shit could get bigger?
Absolutely.
Damn.
Because think about it.
All I did was see the word Russia in there, so I was like, I would probably worry because I don't know much about world politics, like you do. Yeah. I mean, I've heard of these countries, but I don't know shit.
I didn't even know that was named.
Bro, you've never heard of Armenia? Come on, bro. Kardashian?
I had a friend.
I know Armenia.
Armenia from college.
I don't know about Azerbaijan, though.
Yeah, Azerbaijan.
Why do you think this could get more? Why do you think this can get more? Or I guess what?
Because
I guess what's your opinion?
I don't know. I say this has greater implications because any armed conflict that actually escalates to fighting these days, particularly when you have interested parties, like Russia, Turkey, Iran, possibly the United States, this could balloon into way bigger conflict. So I don't know. It's just something I keep my eye on. I'm learning about it every day. But it's scary, man.
It sounds scary, bro. It sounds scary.
That sounds weird. That kind of whacked out. I hope it doesn't like boil over to a freaking civil war or something crazy where like other countries get like sucked into it, or God forbid if like Trump or Biden are just like, yeah, so we're gonna send troops there now.
Yeah, I don't think it'll.
That's what I feel.
I feel like I think they mentioned something about some the Minsk group, so-called Minsk group. I guess there's a few Minsk, yeah. I guess Russia, the US, and France. I don't know any other countries that are co-chairs on that. I guess they're supposed to like meet up to talk about this conflict. Mm-hmm. But I'm like, COVID. Trump, I mean, COVID and elections. That's really all I've been thinking. But whatever.
That boy, you all right? Is that you?
Yeah, I'm good. No, I hit my bowl or something and it made mad noise. My bad.
Speaking of COVID, I tested negative.
Hey.
Yay!
30% of those are false positive, false negative. It's only 66% accurate. I'm just fucking around, bro. I really don't fucking know.